Right, welcome back. More news at this hour. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni signed one of the world's toughest anti-LGBTQI plus laws, including the death penalty for aggravated homosexuality during Western condemnation, also risking sanctions from aid donors at large. Same-sex relations were already illegal in Uganda, as in more than 30 African countries, but the new law goes further. So to shine a spotlight on the realities faced by the LGBTQI plus community in Uganda, perhaps across the continent, we're joined by activist Papa D as well as Miles X. A very good afternoon to the both of you. Thank you for your time with us here on the SABC.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's obviously a grim picture at this point, given the lived realities for the LGBTQI plus community. On the back of the launch of Pride Without Prejudice yesterday, perhaps you could walk us through what the realities are faced by the LGBTQI plus community in Uganda upon the outlawing of homosexuality.
I would like to start by saying that Mulimutieyo, Bampita Dilovikwagala, aka Papa D, ndi muna Uganda, ndi mufirika, ndi musiazi, era nchenyumirizamu. This is to say that I am Dilovikwagala, aka Papa D. I am a Ugandan, I am black, I am African, I am queer, and I'm proud. And I feel like these are words that keep resounding in my head, especially in these situations and experiences that we have to go through for our own freedom. And to give you a grim picture of this is that, live with a question that did you know that the only choice that Ugandan queers have right now to not be persecuted is to go under mandatory conversion therapy? That is the only solution that the whole nation, as Uganda, is giving queer people, is giving homosexuals. That if you don't want to die or if you don't want to be imprisoned, all you have to do is go through conversion therapy. We have been fighting over conversion therapy because these practices are inhuman, just like the laws that they keep passing and that closely impact our lives. You know, I feel like the world is sitting around when Uganda is choosing to pass draconian laws and senseless laws that strip us of all of our rights as queer people, but at the same time also goes ahead to silence us. Yeah. You know, but not only that, goes ahead to criminalize children of any age for simply being who they are. You know, and at the moment, as I was there a few days ago, it felt impossible. It felt like the world is, or the earth is so eager to open up at any point to swallow you whole. You know, there's not been any hope. People have been silenced. People who are completely capable of working for themselves are basically out of work. We are facing a crisis of unemployment. We are facing a crisis of mental health. We are facing a crisis of homelessness. You know, all these for what? We have basically become refugees in our own countries. But at the same time, when we deserve all the rights to live freely as the next person.
Absolutely. On the back of what you echoed now, I mean, we're looking at the realities faced, the violence that the LGBTQI plus community also faces at this point. And I wonder, you know, it's easy to have couch critics and couch coaches messaging on the sidelines. Action is needed. The will to act is also needed. So whilst people stand in solidarity, is enough being done to address this issue on the ground, given the stark realities that you've alluded to?
Nothing is being done. That is the honest truth. And today, as I was thinking about, like, how do I, you know, make a statement, you know, coming here, and I chose to wear this dress, which is a traditional cultural dress for women in Uganda, in the central Uganda, right? And it's also, it's rooting. I'm literally motivated by the fact that they keep saying that homosexuality is non-African, you know, as the lead factor as to why we deserve this injustice, you know, onto us, right? I got this from my homophobic grandmother. You know, and I'm here to remind people that I'm still a part of the community. I'm still a part of the tradition, that I keep carrying Uganda forward with me. We don't hate our country, but it hates us. Yeah. You know, it doesn't give us any, literally with the current laws, there's no survival of queer life whatsoever. You speak about something, you're imprisoned. Right now, if I show up as I am, I won't survive. when I had to go back, because the truth is South Africa kind of failed me when I was here, because I did an interview here and I was trying to get my visa, but like that never happened because again, the system is broken. I had to go back and change everything about myself. I could not even recognize the person that I became in that moment. I hated myself. For the short time that I was there, I couldn't even face myself. But why? You know, they keep telling us that South Africa is a queer heaven, you know, it's a place to be and all of this, but we're still experiencing all these matters as well. And Ugandan landlords are also taking this opportunity to actually evict Ugandan people here in Cape Town, here in South Africa. So nothing has been done, and this is why we are seeing a lot more African countries come up with the same copy and paste laws to again further implicate an already marginalized community. Yeah. We have been stripped of all rights. We do not have access to housing. We do not have access to medication. We do not have access to education. Not only that, we don't qualify or we are not eligible for legal state aid. Is that a way to live? Is that a way to continue? You know, the question is, what are the leaders doing? Because I have not seen any action-based incentives that have been you know, like implemented in place, especially by the UN. It's been really, really quiet.
And it can't be limited to June or October, Pride Month, which Tammy also mentioned. Miles, I want to welcome you into the conversation as well, and maybe get your understanding of your lived experience to date.
So basically, when D was gone, it was kind of hard for me to live with a friend of D and going to school every day. And sometimes I would miss D kissing me and saying goodbye. Yeah, and I would call D every day and check out how it's doing and when they're coming back, and yeah, that's how.
On the back of what Papa D echoed, there's a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of questions that people have who don't understand the reality that the LGBTQI plus community faces. What do you do in your space to educate people, to make them understand who you are very clearly, and if they're not clear, make it abundantly clear?
Well, sometimes at school, I guess there's this one kid in my class who who identifies as he, him, but they checked into the school as she, her, and a lot of boys in the, in the school bully him for that. And I made him my friend so I can literally kind of protect him sometimes. So yeah.
And yesterday when you saw all the embassies coming together to pledge solidarity and support, and the music and the celebration that we had, how do you think, what did that make you feel? What did you learn from that experience?
I learned that, well, even if there's one person facing against you, doesn't mean you can't make a whole army to face against them with you. So I was very thankful for the embassy coming.
Well, we're also thankful for your voice and for adding to this conversation and for helping to educate people. Papa D, I just want to wrap up this, perhaps looking at the way forward. I mean, we obviously lambasting the signing in of the Anti-Homosexuality Act. We're looking at other countries who've followed suit in terms of the discrimination. What do you want to see? Where to from here? How do we begin to celebrate the strides taken, but also speed up the process to ensure that human dignity ultimately prevails?
I think the most important thing is people to remember that it's a ripple effect that is going to not only affect the countries that are already impacted, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, and whatnot, right? It is going to continue, but we need to bring back the solidarity. And this is why we do have the campaign that Tammy launched, which is Pride Without Prejudice, because these conversations are important. You know, we need to learn to step in, even if it's not necessarily about us in that moment, but stand in solidarity and allyship with intention, you know, because these conversations are needed every day, and we need to continue telling the realities of queer living outside our borders, outside our circles. And as people continue to preach hate and genocide onto our bodies, let's remember that we are also here. We are still here, you know, to celebrate love and continue to invite love to come back home. Guys, we've all been hurt. We've all been hurt, you know, but at the same time, do we continue hurting others just because others have hurt us? We need to stop and be kinder, you know, and invite love more into our spaces and teach our children to understand. The other time I wanted to send Miles to camp, you know, and I called these people and they told me that, oh, since your boy is a girl, you know, so languages like that, they keep breaking us, you know. People like us, we need the support. We need to see that we are standing in solidarity. And so to have this conversation here in Uganda, it's not possible right now. So this is what we need to amplify the voices and the realities of what already is happening and what we have already been doing, you know, as action-based incentives, solutions to the problem, and how do we come together to figure out solutions on how to continue.
Yeah.
That is important.
We'll have to leave the conversation there for now, but the conversation continues. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your time, Papa D and Miles, for your education as well, and for spreading love. We're wishing you all the best in your plight, perhaps as you continue to shine a spotlight on the realities of the LGBTQI plus community and perhaps the way forward. So Papa D and Miles really just in conversation with us on the back of the Anti-Homosexuality Act that had been signed in Uganda. The discrimination can be seen in various other African countries. So we're trying to understand the stark realities faced by the community, the LGBTQI plus community, and really how we can all stand in solidarity, perhaps also action, so that human dignity can prevail. We can uphold the African Charter and, you know, as enshrined also in the United Nations for access to human dignity and respect at large. Thank you to them for their time here on the SABC.